Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Here, aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There's a bus that goes...
Well, but I know, but it'd be fluid. That's a lot quicker too. You know, I mean, he's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a long time.
So this is really interesting. And it even looks like some of his own supporters are not too happy, because after running a rabid and fiery campaign on fighting Trump and toppling the Democrat establishment, it looks like all of a sudden Zohran Mamdani is not so fiery. He is playing politics. One could even argue he is currently groveling as we speak to both the Democrat establishment and even Trump, who Zohran is currently meeting with at the White House, as you may know, and we'll keep you posted if anything happens there. But as I've been saying, there's one of two possibilities here. On one hand, we might just end up seeing the same story that progressive outsider populist candidates have sold us every single time, whether that's Bernie Sanders, who immediately caved to Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and the establishment, or even AOC. Same exact thing. She sucked up to Nancy Pelosi for years, hoping that Pelosi would put her on a leadership position, and then guess what happened? That didn't exactly work. So I say to the Mamdani supporters currently, who are still in denial about this, oh, Zohran is our fighter, he would never suck up to Jeffries, Schumer, or Kathy Hochul, that, well, be a little bit careful about what you say there, because we've seen this happen before. History would indicate that's exactly what Zohran's going to do. On the other hand, maybe there still is the possibility, and genuinely, I don't know, that this time is different, and Zohran really is going to try to topple and primary all of these establishment Democrats in 2026. And for the record, I am genuinely rooting for that, right? I want to see the chaos. I certainly think that Zohran's style of candidates nationwide will be easier to run against, but this is currently the conundrum, as we see it even trending on X right now, where left-leaning X users are debating and criticizing some of Mayor-elect Mamdani's early decisions, particularly as it pertains to Trump and the Democrat establishment, because apparently now Mamdani no longer wants to primary Hakeem Jeffries. He is throwing one of his BFFs from the campaign trail under the bus, and as most people probably know right now, meeting with President Trump, what's going to happen? We'll give you our thoughts here today. So that said, guys, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is not only the best way to support our work, but it also ensures that you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And that's it. I want to start by discussing maybe the more likely outcome, which is the civil war or no civil war currently happening within the Democrat Party. As I'm sure everyone knows by now, Hakeem Jeffries is not a popular leader, especially with Zohran Mamdani's voter base, which is exactly why this guy right here out of New York, his name is Chi Osse. He, I kid you not, is a queer Buddhist socialist NYC councilman, reportedly planning here to primary Hakeem Jeffries. By the way, here's a picture of him literally wearing a skirt. So, you know, the most normal candidate that the Zohran crowd could possibly provide. Very fitting, very typical, not surprised at all. But here is, for instance, an example of him and Zohran campaigning together on the trail. And now we'll tell you what's happening these days.
It's time for our city to turn a new page.
Because this mayor sold us out.
I'm Chi Osse.
I'm Zohran Mamdani.
And I represent New York City Council District 36.
Chi?
Is this your train?
Yeah, let's go.
This city is the world's greatest experiment in human cooperation.
And there are those who want to tear it down and sell it out. Trump from the outside, affordability crisis from the inside.
How many more people could thrive with more affordable housing, world-class transit, and universal childcare?
Absolutely, man. They don't want people to believe they can ask for more, so we have to demand more.
Do you know Andrew Cuomo cut Medicaid?
Yeah, and he stole money from the MTA to subsidize upstate ski resorts.
Yeah, so you basically get the idea, right? That brother Zesty, he a bit of a fruitcake, but it's not exactly surprising that this would be a top political ally in New York City of Zohran Mamdani. And of course, considering Zohran ran his entire campaign on toppling the Cuomo political dynasty, surely he would never scam his own voters who want the same thing. Surely he would not throw his top political allies under the bus after they helped them start the socialist revolution to topple the Democrat Party, would he? Well, Take a listen to what he's recently saying in an interview about his friend here, Chi Osse, launching a primary challenge to House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries. You would think, right? Again, outsider populist, here we go. No, now he's saying now is not the right time to be engaging in that kind of a primary. He doesn't want to do it all of a sudden. It's like, what's up with that? It's almost like he won power and then threw everybody under the bus, which is typically what the socialists of history do. But certainly even what the progressives in modern Democrat politics have done time and time again. This is the same playbook. This is what AOC did again. This is what Bernie Sanders did, etc. And take a listen now. I don't know when progressives are going to learn their lesson, but I'm just going to point it out.
As you've seen, your election has created a lot of buzz. Now that the midterms are underway, that seems to be the focus, but your name is still being dragged into the midterms, right? Let me talk about Hakeem Jeffries for a moment, who now may face a challenge from Chi Osse, who is a member of the DSA. You said that there are local issues that Mr. Osse should be focused on, maybe should remain a councilman. Are you saying he should not run against Hakeem Jeffries?
No, I'm saying that I think the focus should be right here on New York City. I respect the work that Councilmember Osse has done in the council.
But what does that mean? Should he not run?
I think that right now is not the time to be engaging in that kind of a primary. I think the focus should be on delivering on this affordability agenda.
Every single time with these progressives, right? And I understand a lot of the Mamdani supporters out there are probably young or have not been in politics that long. But let me just say again that this is always what happens. This is exactly what happened with Bernie. It's exactly what happened with AOC. And at a certain point, you would think that pattern recognition would kick in. Although I guess leftism in itself is an entire ideology based on, you could argue, the entire premise of leftism is failing to have pattern recognition. I don't know if that's an IQ thing. I don't know if it's just kind of fundamental to their beliefs. They like to destroy things, and what better way to do that than fail to recognize the past patterns of what destroy things? But whatever, okay? I'm just saying to the progressives, be very careful about this, or ignore what I'm saying at your own peril. Pattern recognition, I repeat there. I know you've never learned those words in your entire life, which is probably why you're a leftist, but still. Now, that said, to play devil's advocate, I can genuinely understand the argument that Mamdani or his supporters might make right now, which is, hey, look, we're trying to be strategic. We're trying to be diplomatic because although we won this mayoral victory, we're still the outsiders in the Democrat Party. We don't want to step on too many toes while we're getting our foot in the door, right? So let's not necessarily piss off Hakeem or Chuck Schumer or Democrat leadership too much. I get all of that, but the reason I'm coming with my counter is because I again say, this has already happened before. This is what you guys always try to do, and it always fails. Bernie Sanders in 2016, what did he do after the DNC arguably rigged the primary process against him? Well, he endorsed Hillary Clinton. Where did that get him? Absolutely nowhere. Then in 2020, he comes back thinking, okay, I played nice the last time. Surely I'll be rewarded this time. And then they screwed him over again. And then he went and sucked up to Biden. And the logic there by the progressives was, well, we can steer Biden to be a fairly progressive president if we play diplomacy and we have influence and leverage over him. And sure, I can kind of respect and understand that. Except when it came to actual progressive legislation, like, for instance, the $15 minimum wage, you know what happened? They just took it out of the bill, right? Biden never fought for it. Chuck Schumer just X'd it out. Bernie Sanders just sat there and took it. The same is true, by the way, with AOC, who never got her leadership position. And look at what they're doing right now, right? You think things might be at all different? Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, the House of Representatives voted on and passed a resolution condemning socialism, right? Condemning Zohran Mamdani, in other words. Now, the thing is that you might think, okay, it's a Republican House-led resolution. Surely, that's why it passed. Republicans control the House. Except, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the list of Democrats who actually voted again on this measure to condemn socialism when, of course, let's not forget, Zohran Mamdani and his allies openly identify as socialists. Isn't it funny how that works?
Just showing this from the Hill right now. This is a measure to condemn socialism. The vote is still being tabulated, but of note, the 4 leading Democrats in the House voted with Republicans to condemn socialism, yet 96 Democrats voted no. Mm-hmm. So those are the Democrats who voted with Republicans: Jeffries and Catherine Clark, Pete Aguilar and Ted Lieu. So that vote is in, and the big meeting happens in a couple hours, White House, with the Democratic Socialists out of New York meeting with President Trump today.
Now, look, big picture, I think we could all sit here and argue that it's basically a meaningless resolution. You condemn socialism. What does that even mean? Oh, the House voted to say socialism was bad. Okay, are we going to do anything about it? No. Okay, then what was the point of it? That's all fine. The only part of this I find interesting is the fact, again, that Hakeem Jeffries, after all this rhetoric about how the Democrat Party's an open big tent and we welcome Zohran Mamdani, okay, fine. Finally, after like several months, I'm going to endorse him. He basically just voted on the House floor in a formal resolution to condemn Zohran Mamdani alongside Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, Pete Aguilar, and Congressman Ted Lieu. So I asked to the Mamdani defenders, how's that strategy working out for you? You spent the past couple of days sucking up saying you don't want to primary Hakeem. Hakeem, of course, rewards you. Oh, you're welcome in the tent. Thanks for being a team player. Let me vote to condemn you on the House floor. I'm just saying, right? And let me say, as much as I'm trying to dunk on the progressives and the socialists, I'm genuinely rooting for you guys. I want to see you guys, both for my own reasons, but also for your reasons, right? It's a mutual interest. We both want to topple the Democrat establishment. So I'm genuinely hoping that Zohran and his supporters stick to their guns and they cause a bunch of chaos in the Democrat Party, both in 26 and 28. I'm just explaining the reasons why we're clearly seeing maybe that might not even happen after all. So, that said, we'll see how this all turns out. But as you can see, currently trending on Twitter, or X, I guess I should say, a bunch of Zohran supporters are really not happy with them, right? This guy says, I think some of you need to come to terms with the fact that it is okay and, in fact, often good to criticize politicians like Zohran. It's not a betrayal of the left and it's not cynicism. It's a very normal thing that people are supposed to do in a healthy democracy. So there's a little bit of coping going on, but underlying the message there is saying what? Yeah, I still support Zohran, but I'm not really happy with the current strategy of things, right? And then we haven't even talked, by the way, about the meeting with Trump yet. So this is another one saying exactly otherwise it's a cult, it's not politics, right? This guy says, watching so-called radical leftists make excuse after excuse for Zohran obviously selling out was extremely wild to witness in the last few months, maddening even. And this comes after apparently this guy right here also said, you should have known Zohran Mamdani was going to sell your ass out the second he started repeating empire propaganda about Venezuela and Cuba while condemning Hamas. Yeah, I know. What a terrible thing to do, right? But anyways, you MFers knew exactly what you signed up for. Stopped acting surprised. And this comes from this guy who runs, I guess, the Socialist MMA network. So a far left is calling out the other far leftists for saying, you guys didn't expect this. He sold us out, guys. Come on, just admit it. I mean, you love to see it, okay? Not only is the Democrat Party tearing itself apart, now apparently even the socialist, far left is tearing itself apart. So, it all goes on and on. This guy right here says, people acting like right-wing free speech bros. No one is trying to stop anyone from criticizing Zohran in general. It's the content of the criticisms that people disagree with. This petulant alarm about the dangers of idol worship and vanishing left criticality is so phony. So, just a bunch of this stuff going on. And it certainly, as I would expect, right, is a hot button debate basically right now on the political left. And that's only coming from the Democrat side. We also have the other side, where suddenly, after spending an entire election saying the Democrats don't fight hard enough against Trump, how dare they be diplomatic ever? How dare they meet with him, do anything? Guess what Zohran Mamdani announced this week that he's actually doing? Take a listen.
I will be heading to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet with President Trump in the White House. It is customary for an incoming mayor of this city to meet with the White House, given the mutual reliance. It's more critical than ever, given the national crisis of affordability, one that New Yorkers know very well across these 5 boroughs, and the specific challenge many cities are facing with balancing public safety against steps taken by this administration. I know that for tens of thousands of New Yorkers, this meeting is between 2 very different candidates who they voted for the same reason. They wanted a leader who would take on the cost of living crisis that makes it impossible for working people to afford living in this city. My team reached out to the White House to set up this meeting because I will work with anyone to make life more affordable for the more than 8.5 million people who call this city home. I have many disagreements with the president, and I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker. I intend to make it clear to President Trump that I will work with him on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers.
So on the campaign trail, it was 100% we must fight Trump. Don't give him any quarter, right? Andrew Cuomo's talking to Trump. Remember, they attacked him for that. They attacked Andrew Cuomo for having a phone call with Donald Trump saying, oh, look, he's a Trump stooge. And of course, let's not forget the Democrat base just shut down the government, not wanting to have any politics of compromise or working together or anything. And then all of a sudden from Zohran Mamdani, he's like, if I succeed, then Trump also succeeds. I'm willing to work with anyone. Are you saying we should unify, Zohran? Is that all of a sudden what you're doing? I mean, it's a real wonder, right? I'm just baffled as to why your own voters are kind of pissed off at you right now on the internet. But that said, that meeting apparently right now is happening. So take a listen.
Moments ago, New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani arrived in Washington, D.C. already being asked for selfies. That is ahead of today's meeting with President Trump. The president also making some news. He previewed the sit-down on Brian Kilmeade's radio show. He said it might be less hostile than people expect.
Well, I was hitting him a little hard, too, in all fairness. I don't know exactly what he means by turn the volume up, because turn the volume up, he has to be careful when he says that to me. I mean, he was very nice in calling, as you know, and we're going to have a meeting. I guess we meet at 3 o'clock today. And I think it's going to be quite civil. We'll find out. You'll be the first to know.
We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat him easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that. Absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
So let me translate for you what really just happened here, okay? Clearly, they had a good meeting because Zohran Mamdani didn't come like a firecracker. He was civil. He was really saying, oh, please, Mr. President, I won't be that mean. Please don't cut our federal funding. Everything's going to be fine. I'm not really a socialist. I just care about affordability, surely. But what does that mean, right? He's kissing the ring. He's trying to grovel. And then here he is standing uncomfortably, right? As, he looks small. He looks uncomfortable. And he's like, thank you, Mr. President. It's so fake, isn't it? It's so fake, but, anyways, guys, there you have it. So, like I said, we'll stay posted on what happens, okay? I'm rooting for Zohran to stick to his guns, okay? To see just another progressive say they're going to start a war in the Democrat Party and not do it, as a non-Democrat, is actually really frustrating. Like, we're waiting for the Civil War. Where's the progressive revolution? Come on. I remember Bernie published that book, 10 years ago about our revolution. Hey, Bernie, where's the revolution? This is it right here, right? You guys got to push forward. You have momentum, It's like Dunkirk. You're encircling the opposition. They're on their last legs, and then you just order the army to stop. Right? With all the momentum, they stop in place. Oh, why did they escape the beach? I wonder why, right? But, not to compare the Democrats to Winston Churchill or anything, but that's like, it's the same behavior. It's the same garbage. But You know, anyways, that said, there you have it. We might, if more happens in this White House meeting, we might talk about it in a separate video. But for now, guys, do us a favor. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.